Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. Let me tell you something that's going to change how you walk, how you talk, how you live. Act like nothing affects you. Because the moment they know they can get to you, they win. The moment they see you flinch, they got you. The moment they know their silence makes you anxious, their words make you second, guess yourself, or their absence breaks your spirit. That's the moment they know they control your peace. And you can't afford to give nobody that kind of power. You got to walk in a room with your head up. Even if your whole world is falling apart, you got to smile in front of folks who secretly want to see you crumble. You got to keep showing up, even when every part of you wants to disappear. That's strength. That's power. That's how you win when the odds are stacked against you. Now, I'm not saying you ain't allowed to feel. I'm not saying you should be made of stone. No, you feel everything, but in private, in the dark, you cry. In the mirror, you question. But when you step out that door, you step like royalty. You step like life didn't just throw its worst at you. You act like nothing affects you, not because you're fake, but because you're focused. People will test you. Life will test you. But you got to master your reactions. You got to train yourself to be unbothered. Because when you're unbothered, you become unpredictable. They don't know what breaks you, so they don't know how to beat you. And let me tell you, there's a power in being unreadable. There's a strength in being unfazed. Because peace is expensive. And you don't give it away to just anybody. See, everybody loud when they think they're in control of your emotions. But go silent. Go still. Watch how confused they get. Watch how the same people who tried to push your buttons realize your switch is somewhere they can't reach. And this isn't about ego. This is about self-worth. It's about saying, I've been through worse than this, and I didn't fold then. I sure ain't folding now. It's about knowing your value so deep. You don't need to explain, argue, or prove nothing to nobody. You just keep moving, keep grinding, keep shining, and let them wonder how you're still standing. Let them wonder why you're smiling when you should be crying. Let them wonder why you're calm when they tried to cause chaos. Let them wonder how you still got peace when they tried to steal your joy. That's what happens when you act like nothing affects you. You become untouchable in a world that thrives off reaction. So from this day forward, hold your head high. Let people talk. Let them walk. Let them throw whatever shade they got. You stay poised. You stay focused. You stay unbothered. Because the strongest person in the room ain't the loudest. It's the one who's calm in the storm and still keeps moving forward. Act like nothing affects you, not because you don't care, but because you care too much about your peace to let nonsense disturb it. And that, my friend, is how you take your power back. Protecting your peace by mastering your reactions is one of the most powerful skills you can develop in life. It doesn't mean you don't feel things, and it certainly doesn't mean you don't care. What it really means is that you have learned to control how you respond to what happens around you instead of letting those things control you. It's about taking ownership of your emotions, your energy, and your mindset, no matter what's going on externally. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, our energy, and our reactions. People will test you. Situations will frustrate you. Life will throw unexpected challenges in your path. And in all of this, the easiest thing to do is to let your emotions lead the way. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct might be to lash out. When life doesn't go as planned, your first reaction may be to panic or fall apart. But here's the truth. Reacting emotionally to everything drains your power. It puts your peace into the hands of whoever or whatever provoked you. And once they know they can disturb your calm, they will keep doing it. Because now they have access to your buttons. Mastering your reactions is not about being passive or weak. It's about choosing to respond with intention instead of impulse. It's deciding in every situation that your inner peace is more valuable than proving a point, more precious than a temporary release of anger, and more important than someone else's opinion. There's a real strength in pausing before reacting. That pause gives you power. That moment of silence before you respond. That's where self-control lives. That's where wisdom speaks louder than emotion. And the more you practice that pause, the stronger you get at protecting your peace. Think about how many times someone's words ruined your entire day. Think about how often you've carried the weight of a conversation, a look, a message, letting it sit on your chest and disturb your whole mood. That's not peace. That's emotional slavery. And the way out of that is to stop allowing other people to write the script for your emotions. Just because someone's having a bad day doesn't mean they get to dump that energy on you. Just because someone disrespected you doesn't mean you owe them a reaction. Sometimes the greatest power move is no move at all. Now, this doesn't mean you ignore everything. It doesn't mean you don't speak up when necessary. It means you pick your battles. You choose when to engage and when to let things slide. You learn to ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in a week? Does this deserve space in my mind? If the answer is no, you let it go. Because every time you react, you spend emotional currency. And if you're not careful, you'll be bankrupt, drained from reacting to every little thing, always emotionally exhausted, never at peace. Protecting your peace is about boundaries, not just with people, but with situations with social media, with news, with negativity. It's about choosing what you allow into your mental space. It's about deciding that not everything deserves your response. You don't have to comment on every post. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. When you stop reacting to everything, you begin to rise above it. And when you rise above it, you become untouchable. Not because nothing affects you, but because you refuse to let it. The world we live in rewards loudness. People want to see you snap. They want to get a rise out of you. That's entertainment for them. But what they don't expect is for you to be calm. They don't expect you to smile in the face of disrespect. They don't expect you to remain still when they try to shake your world. That's the power of reaction control. That's the power of being unshakable. Because when you are in control of yourself, nobody else is. One of the greatest things you can learn is that peace is not found in perfect circumstances. It's created by intentional choices. It's built every day in every decision you make about how you handle what life throws at you. And once you learn to protect your peace by mastering your reactions, you walk into a whole new level of power. You're no longer a puppet on the strings of emotions. You're the one holding the pen to your own story. So every time life tests you, take a breath. Every time someone tries to throw you off balance, remember your power. Every time you're tempted to react out of impulse, choose peace instead. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Because your energy is sacred. Your mind is valuable. And your peace is priceless. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it truly does. Being unbothered, to remain unpredictable, is not about pretending or act nothing ever touches you. It's about consciously choosing not to show your hand. It's about learning how to guard your emotional responses so that people can't easily access your triggers. The more predictable you are, the easier it is for people to play you. The more you reveal your inner emotions to the world, the more control you give them over your actions and reactions. When you learn how to be unbothered, when you learn how to keep your face calm and your energy composed, even when chaos is knocking at your door, you gain a kind of power that's rare. People often try to test others, not always out of malice, but sometimes just to see what they can get away with. In relationships, friendships, jobs, people want to know your limits, your weaknesses, your soft spots. And if they find them, some will exploit them. But when you carry yourself in a way where your reactions don't match their expectations, they're left confused, disarmed. That confusion is your protection. It keeps you ahead because while they're trying to calculate your next move based on an emotional response they didn't get, you're already thinking several steps ahead. In a world that feeds off drama and emotional display, being calm is a threat. It says, you don't have control over me. It says, I'm not giving you what you came for. That throws people off. It makes them unsure of their own strategy. And in that moment, you reclaim your power. You stop playing the role of the emotionally reactive person and start embodying the person who moves on their own terms, not on the bait someone else laid out. Staying unbothered doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care more about your peace than about proving anything to anyone. It means you're not giving someone the satisfaction of seeing you upset, not giving them the reaction they were fishing for. The truth is, some people thrive off chaos. They want to rile you up. They want you emotional because emotional people are easier to manipulate. But you stay composed. You stay still. You let them wonder. And that wondering, that's the real punishment for people who live to disturb others. The advantage of being unpredictable is that you remain in control. If people know how to get a reaction out of you, they can control your behavior without even touching you. But if they can't read you, they can't play you. And that unreadability becomes your armor. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, when you stop overreacting to criticism, when you stop letting others dictate how you feel, you become a mystery. And people don't mess with mysteries as easily as they do with open books. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about channeling them with discipline. There's a difference between not caring and choosing not to respond. You might feel anger, hurt, or disappointment, but you choose not to let those emotions direct your outward behavior. That's emotional intelligence. That's strength. That's the kind of self-mastery that elevates you above the games people try to play. Feeling privately and moving powerfully is one of the most misunderstood, yet most essential strengths a person can develop. It's the art of separating your emotions from your actions, of allowing yourself the full range of human feelings, pain, frustration, sadness, confusion, but not letting those feelings dictate how the world sees you. It's not about faking strength. It's about reserving your most vulnerable moments for spaces where they're safe, not for public display, where they can be used against you. Because not everyone deserves to witness your wounds. Not everyone deserves access to your healing process. Some people just want to see you broken so they can confirm their belief that you're not as strong as you appear. And that's why you must protect both your vulnerability and your dignity by feeling privately, but moving like nothing can stop you. You can cry at night and still show up in the morning. You can doubt yourself behind closed doors, but walk into a room like you own it. That doesn't make you fake. That makes you disciplined. That makes you resilient. The truth is, everyone feels things deeply. Everyone goes through things. But the ones who succeed, the ones who rise, are the ones who refuse to let those feelings define their path. They might break down in the privacy of their own space. But when it's time to face the world, they fix their crown, straighten their back, and take one more step forward. That kind of quiet strength is rare. It's not showy, it's not loud, but it's unshakable. Moving powerfully doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you refuse to let your circumstances silence your ambition. It means even when you're tired, even when life has knocked the wind out of you, you don't stay down. You don't broadcast every battle. You just keep showing up. You keep walking into rooms with confidence. You keep working like everything is fine, even when your heart is heavy. That is power. Because the world is always watching, waiting to see if you'll fall apart. But when you keep showing up, despite everything trying to hold you back, you're telling life that you won't be defeated by temporary pain. There's a sacredness in privacy, in being able to sit with your emotions without the pressure of performance. You don't owe the world a breakdown. You don't have to put your pain on display to prove that you're human. There is healing that happens in silence. There is strength that's built in solitude. When you feel privately, you give yourself permission to process honestly, to wrestle with your thoughts without the noise of outside opinions. And when you move powerfully, in spite of those feelings, you show yourself that emotions are not roadblocks. They're reminders. Reminders that you're alive, that you care, that you're growing. But they don't have to control you. You learn to carry your pain without letting it drag you. You learn to navigate hardship without wearing it like a label. People will often judge you based on what they see, not what you've survived. That's why you don't need to prove your struggle. Let them underestimate you. Let them think it's easy for you. Let them believe you never cry, never doubt, never break. Because the real power is in knowing the truth and still rising anyway. It's in walking through fire and not smelling like smoke. It's in living through storms and still showing up with light in your eyes. When you separate your emotions from your movements, you become unstoppable because the world can try to shake your emotions, but it can't shake your discipline. Life can try to wear you down emotionally, but it can't touch your decision to keep moving forward. You start to operate on a different level, one where your actions are not based on how you feel in the moment, but on who you've decided to become. That's where transformation happens. That's where growth lives. People will try to figure you out. They'll try to make sense of how you keep going, how you keep smiling, how you keep working, how you keep rising. But they won't understand that your power doesn't come from being unaffected. It comes from being deeply affected but never stopping, from hurting in silence and healing in motion, from feeling every ounce of the weight, but still choosing not to collapse. That kind of strength doesn't scream. It doesn't post. It just exists. Quiet, consistent, unstoppable. So give yourself permission to feel. Let yourself cry when you need to. Talk to God. Write in your journal. Sit with your pain. But when you step into the world, step like nothing can touch you. Walk like every wound has already been stitched with purpose. Move like you've already won, even if you're still in the fight, because the ability to feel privately and move powerfully is not just survival. It's transformation. It's the choice to rise again and again, no matter what's trying to pull you down. That's not pretending. That's power. Confidence in silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power, yet it's one of the most effective. In a world where everyone is shouting, posting, reacting, and defending themselves at every turn, silence becomes a weapon. Not because it hides weakness, but because it signals strength. When you learn to be silent in the face of chaos, criticism, or challenge, you take control of the room. You shift the energy. You force people to question themselves, to doubt their assumptions, to wonder what's going on in your mind. And that mystery, that stillness, it becomes your strength. There is something deeply unsettling to those who expect a reaction and don't get one. Most people expect noise. They expect retaliation. They expect explanations and justifications. So when you give them nothing but calm, you confuse them. When someone tries to bait you into an argument and you respond with silence, you deny them the attention they crave. When someone disrespects you and you don't stoop to their level, you show them that you operate on a frequency they can't reach. That's what real confidence looks like. It's not always in how loud you speak. It's often in how calmly you choose to say nothing. Silence is not the absence of response. It's the most deliberate response you can give. It says, I see you. I hear you. But I value my energy. Too much to waste it here. It tells the world that you're not available for every argument, every petty exchange, or every emotional outburst. It tells people that for peace is not up for discussion. And when you start protecting your energy like that, you become different. You carry a presence that people can feel. You don't need to shout. You don't need to post. You just are. Confidence in silence also shows that you trust yourself. You're not desperate to prove your worth to others. You're not pressed to explain your intentions, defend your name, or correct every misunderstanding. Because when you truly know who you are, you realize that not everyone's opinion matters. You begin to understand that silence is not surrender. It's strategy. It's saying, I'm not fighting battles that don't grow me. I'm not chasing approval that doesn't feed me. I'm not reacting to noise that doesn't serve me. People often mistake silence for weakness. And that's their biggest mistake. Because while they're talking, you're thinking. While they're reacting, you're observing. While they're wasting energy, you're conserving yours for moves that matter. Silence creates space. Space to reflect. Space to grow. Space to listen to your intuition. And when you move from that space, when your next step is born from clarity and not chaos, it hits different. It's not emotional, it's intentional. There's also a level of maturity in silence. It shows that you don't need to win every exchange. You don't need to be right all the time. You don't need to have the last word. You've grown past the need to engage with everything that challenges your ego, because confidence isn't loud. It doesn't seek validation. It doesn't beg to be understood. It just stands quietly, firmly, unapologetically. When you embrace silence as a form of strength, you stop moving based on emotion and start moving based on vision. You stop reacting in real time and start thinking long term. You stop letting people pull you into emotional chaos and start leading with stillness. That's how real leaders operate. That's how strong people move. They don't need to make a scene. They just let their consistency, their presence, and their results speak for them. Confidence in silence also teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to sit with uncomfortable emotions without having to dump them on someone else. It teaches you how to process before reacting. It teaches you how to respond with grace instead of aggression. And that kind of control is rare. It takes strength to hold back when you have every reason to lash out. It takes maturity to say nothing when every part of you wants to speak. But every time you choose silence over noise, you're choosing power over impulse. There will be times when silence will be your greatest response. When they lie on you and you don't defend yourself. When they provoke you and you don't respond. When they exclude you and you don't chase them. That silence is not you losing. It's you rising. It's you refusing to lower yourself to levels that don't match your value. And in that rise, you grow. You grow stronger, wiser, and more focused. So don't be afraid of silence. Embrace it. Use it. Let it become part of your identity. Let people talk. Let them wonder. Let them create their own stories. You stay focused. You stay grounded. You stay silent and move in purpose. Because the ones who move in silence aren't hiding. They're building. They're growing. They're preparing. And when they finally speak or act, it's undeniable. Confidence doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand to be seen. It simply is. Quiet, unshaken, and absolutely unstoppable.